Hi everyone, I'm Cece Stein with the Real Malibu 411. We're here today with Suzanne Good, Senior Ecologist with State Parks and Recreation, and we're on site at the Malibu Lagoon Restoration Project.
Hi.
So let's talk about the ocean discharge.
Yeah, we were really hoping to get it going today, but unfortunately there's one test that takes a little bit longer than another test to get results from. That's called acute toxicity, and that one takes a while to get, so it's probably going to be another day or two before we're able to discharge.
Okay. Is it true that the treated water is going to have an immediate impact on the tide pools in the ocean?
No, it's not going to have an impact on the tide pools because it's not fresh water, for one thing. It has a salinity of about 8 parts per thousand, and fresh water is much, much lower than that, so we're discharging actually brackish water into the ocean, and it gets immediately diluted by the salt water that's there. And and the rate that we're discharging at is really not going to have an impact on the tide pools. We wouldn't do it otherwise.
So Suzanne, I heard that the channels are supposed to be 9 feet deep. Is that true?
No, that's not true at all. They'll be about 3 feet deep, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think the confusion comes from our Coastal Commission presentation a couple years ago. Our consultant showed a PowerPoint presentation, and he showed how the channels would look at different sea level elevations. And so the last one he showed was at the 9-foot sea level elevation. But the base level of the channels is higher than sea level, so it's not going to be 9 feet deep.
So 9-foot sea level and 9-foot deep channel are two different things.
Two entirely different things.
Good. Okay, that's great. And how are the channels going to improve circulation and water quality?
Well, the water quality issues that we're dealing with is dissolved oxygen and nutrients and things of that nature. There's phytoplankton in the water, and the additional circulation that the channel configuration will give will allow much greater circulation when the lagoon is open. Now, we're not changing anything about the opening of the lagoon. It'll be closed in the summer, open in the winter as always, but when it is open, the seawater will be able to get into the channels much better because the channel, actually will be one branch channel, will be focused out towards the beach, and so the water will be able to get in much more easily and scour out the accumulated sediments. In the closed condition, because we've removed the islands that were too high, all the fill islands, the wind will have a greater impact in blowing across the surface of the water, so it'll increase circulation that way. So we should end up with greater oxygen and fewer nutrients because the sediments will be able to be swept out by the increased circulation.
Okay, great. I'm dying to talk snowy plover, so will you take us over there and show us the snowy plover habitat?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go. Okay, Suzanne, so can you show us exactly where the snowy plover habitat is?
Sure. On the 19th of June, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service designated critical habitat for the snowy plover. And the habitat they designated was basically the entire sandy beach, all the way from down by the Adamson house, all the way up here to where we're standing, and then including part of our project area, which is right over across from us now, as you can see by the yellow caution tape. And that actually area right here, where that's delineated by the caution tape, never was good snowy plover habitat. The snowy plovers really like to be out on the beach, and you can see that we put up this fencing, symbolic fencing and signs. That's where the snowy plovers like to be. They like open beach, no bluffs over their head, open sandy beach with lots of kelp racks.
So that's what you meant by the white snowy plover area in our earlier videos,
yes,
correct? Okay,
right.
Got it.
But when the Fish and Wildlife Service designated the critical habitat, I think probably what happened was that someone looked at an aerial photograph and just drew a line on a photograph, and they brought in part of our project site. And even before the grading was done on this area, it was never, that good a habitat or any habitat because it was full of shrubs, and they don't like that. They like the open beach where the kelp is.
Right.
So what's happening right now is that we're staying out of, we've delineated the area that overlaps our project area, which is where the yellow caution tape is. And we've been told to stay out of that area until the Army Corps of Engineers and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service have had a chance to confer. And what I understand is that they probably are going to say that there's no primary constituent habitat elements in this site. Number one, because we started our project already, but number two, I don't think there ever were the primary constituent elements here because they like the open sandy beach, and this was like a shrubland here.
So basically the opposition stated on patch, pretty much blaming the Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission on backtracking on federal snowy plover laws. That's obviously not true, correct?
Not at all. That is totally to be determined by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in consultation with the Army Corps of Engineers. So we're staying out of the area now until they've come to their conclusion.
The opposition also made claims about the treatment plant being in the middle of the snowy plover protected area.
That's completely untrue. The snowy plover protected area currently, as I mentioned before, is entirely enclosed within this yellow caution tape area, and the treatment plant as well.
Okay, so that's all the way over here,
Yeah.
over here,
Right.
over here.
Yeah, and it goes along the entire beach all the way to the Adamson House.
Okay.
So the treatment plant and the
It's right there.
and the outfall pipe are completely outside of that. And if you look at the map of the critical habitat designation, you'll see that.
Okay, great. Okay, and that's what that map was that we got video from Mark this morning.
Right.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, Mark, let's talk about the snowy plover habitats, and you're going to show us here on the map where they're all located.
So this red line is what was produced and came out in the Federal Register on June 19th. And prior to that, they said in the biological opinion that we weren't going to be working in any critical snowy plover habitat. But it appears that when they drew the line, that it was just drawn over the top of an aerial photo, and they included some areas that we would not consider snowy plover habitat. So the Fish and Wildlife Service and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are reviewing whether or not these have what they call the constituent elements to meet the requirements of snowy plover habitat, and what impacts, if any, the project will have on these areas of snowy plover habitat. And so there was some mention about the treatment plant being located in snowy plover habitat. This is where the treatment plant is located, right here. It's obviously outside of the snowy plover habitat. Our pipe runs right alongside this red line. Again, just outside of the snowy plover habitat. And then we have proposals for stuff to happen in this area, right here where this line is, which used to be open water, used to be the channel right there.
Right.
And on this little edge right here. So they're reviewing those areas to make sure what we have planned doesn't interfere with any constituent elements of snowy plover habitat. And we're waiting on a response from Fish and Wildlife and the Army Corps of Engineers to tell us what we should do in those areas.
Got it.
Or not do in those areas.
Okay. Suzanne, how about the nests? I mean, have we had any fledglings or?
Yes, we got 2 more nests that hatched of ducks, and they are now gone and in the water, and we have 2 duck nests left.
Oh, I know who I could not forget to ask about. How about Willie? Has Willie been seen?
I have not seen Willie or any other weasels.
I heard that you were
recently
on very good terms with Willie because Mark has never seen him.
Yes,
you have. So.
I saw him running across the parking lot one day between the 2 trailers.
Aww.
And this might have been a different one because he had a very definite reddish cast, or she.
Okay. And now I hear that your fan base is growing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, last week I was at a local store on the way getting something to eat on the way home, and a very nice woman by the name of Maggie stopped her car in the middle of the parking lot and said, "Oh, excuse me, are you the lady on the Real Malibu 411?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, I'm so excited to meet you, and it's great what you're doing, and it's a great project," and that she really enjoyed watching the videos. So I guess I've got one additional fan.
Oh,
anyway.
no, you've got quite a few. You're becoming quite the YouTube sensation, judging by our thousands of views. This is this week's update with the Real Malibu 411, here with Suzanne Good from State Parks and Recreation at the Malibu Lagoon Restoration Project.
And the world